Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. So in today's podcast, Friday, yippee-ki-yay. Yes, I'm checking if oh my god. This is one of those mornings. You gotta love it. So we're gonna be talking about from burnout to balance, how to reclaim your energy and passion, especially on a Friday. Who would not want to have their energy back? Seriously. So, burnout is a modern epidemic. Many high achievers push themselves to exhaustion, thinking it's the only way to succeed. But true success includes sustainability. This is what we're going to explore and how to recognize burnout and restore balance. So let's talk about the three. Oh my goodness, this is Friday. See, I think I'm part of the burnout right now. Let's talk about the three stages of burnout. Overload phase, which you're constantly busy, stress, and feeling pressure to perform at work, at home. Chronic stress phase, which is number 2, the fatigue sets in and motivation drops and you feel emotionally drained. This is where you start to have a little breakdown. In the burnout phase, which is number 3, you feel detached, exhausted, and struggle to care about your work. You are not doing it even at home, because it's not only at work but it's also at home. The common causes of burnout. Okay, so for people who are perfectionists, they want everything perfect. That's number 1. With overworking, feeling like you must always be productive. Go. You can't stand still at all. You have to be on the move every single time. The lack of boundaries, saying yes to everything, leading to overwhelm. How many people who wants to be the people pleasing? Can you do this for me? Can you do that? Can you please? Your friend's coming and you want to help this and help that person. Help everybody except yourself. Setting up the boundaries. Those are the things that needs to be done. Emotional exhaustion, constant stress without recovery. People coming, with problems, with situation, and your brain is on 24/7, which is normally is, but on overload. We're talking. It's like passing the point of no return. You're gonna burn and crash. So that are the biggest issues, and you need to be able to recognize every single one of them. Everything is perfect, but some people want things so perfect that's too much. So you have to look at all of those aspects and you have to start to think, how can I do this? How can I reset myself in a way that I can recover from the burnout, but also prevent those to be too much? Now, the first reset will be you need to prioritize rest and recovery. And it's difficult because in some jobs and profession, it's kind of difficult to do. But you have to find that balance. The sleep, the time off, and digital detoxing are crucial. Yes, social media will suck the life out of you if you spend too much time on TikTok, on Facebook, on Insta. There is life out of that. And I talked about social media and I talked about the illusional world of social media, what the appearance is on most influencers. Most of them want to pretend they have a beautiful life and everything is perfect. They're living in a perfect world and they spend so much time to polish that image. At the end of the day, something's going to happen. Everybody's going to realize that that individual is not as it seems to be. That was a rapper, I don't remember who he was, who took a picture that was a few years ago of him by near a private jet and telling everybody he was his private jet. And somebody was trolling him and basically debunk and show the fraud because he never had the means to have a private jet, but he wanted to give that illusion. So we have to be cautious when we're looking at social media to don't have ourselves sucked in that world as well, where we're going to feel burnt because we are spending that energy instead and recovering, we're overwhelming our brain with it. That's why, when people give to their kids their cell phone to keep them busy, yeah, that's going to keep them busy, but this is not a good habit for children either. Okay? So, this is, we're going to call it the modern world, but you still have your brain. You still need some rest. You need some time off. You need to be able to go back to nature and to be present in a moment and not feeling like we have to go to the rat race, because that's what at the end of the day most people are thinking with their rat race. And it's like, no, we're not in a rat race. So making sure that when we are taking care of our life, it's not only our life, but it's our body, soul, and mind, especially the mind. We need at one point of time to unplug. I knew somebody who had to sleep with TV on because otherwise he could not sleep, which to me was like, okay, that's not happening, because for me it was impossible. It was just like, no, I need the peace, I need the quiet. I cannot have that distraction there, because otherwise my brain is not, quote unquote, gonna rest, which the brain doesn't rest, but at least be in a sleeping mode for a little bit. You need so the balance of this is about a balance. It's about our lives. It's about how do we treat ourselves. Recharging, yes, because when you reset, you're gonna need to recharge, replenish your mental and physical energy. So we talked on Wednesdays about setting up our goals, and I talked on Monday about being motivated. So doing activities gonna help you. Exercise, nature, mindfulness. We're talking about yoga, meditation. And meditation, you don't have to sit, because a lot of people assume when you meditate you have to sit, close your eyes, and people cannot do that. Not everybody can sit down, quiet their mind, takes discipline, and just stay there, stand still for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes. What you could do, actually, if you have if you're near a park or greenery or even a grocery store, because I used to meditate going to the grocery store. It's like, okay, I'm taking my time walking around and observing. You can meditate by being present, because the key is being present. It's not thinking, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I have to run to do that. I have to do this. That. No, 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 no. You slow down, you ground yourself, and you're being present and become the observer. I am amazed by what I do every day, especially when I walk with the dogs and we do the trails. And every day I'm going to find something different in those trails. Trees, I'm going to notice something different. Why? Because I'm present in the moment. I'm going to be in awe looking at nature. We had snow on Sunday, and I took pictures, beautiful pictures. I didn't even to turn the black and white either, because it turned entirely black and white. It was beautiful. I took some great pictures, and I was looking at them like, I don't even need a filters to do that, because Mother Nature did it on his own. I was observing the next day the trees that were covered in heavy snow, and I was just in awe looking at it into the sky. And I didn't took a great picture from my iPad. Not a good idea, but I was too lazy to take my phone and go back by the window. But it was just amazing to be present at that moment. So when you start to be present in activities, that's why activities are good. Walking, if you don't run, that's fine. Walking, observing. And again, like I said, you can be in the middle of people, you can be in a mall, but you slow down yourself and start to observe things, observe people, observe stores, or go, like I said, you go to a store and gonna walk around and observe what they got. Become the observer. That helps you actually to recharge and be in a here and now. The key actually is being in the here and now. Reignite passion. Find the passion and purpose again. Because when you're burned out, you don't have any passion. The only thing you want to do is put your nose in your pillow and be depressed, or in food or whatever, doesn't help, whatever is your burnout. So it's rediscover what excites you about your work and life. What is exciting? Maybe, when you work on projects so long and you're just go, 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 you're going to burn out. But you can look at what I have a passion about and what I like about my work. Find a little thing. Maybe it's the coffee machine, who knows? But the coffee maker is good over there. Coffee is good. But looking at what you like, and in your life is the same thing. Like I explained the story on the previous podcast about me repainting my walls and doing a faux on all of my walls and ceiling. But on the ceiling, not the walls, I did a faux on walls too, but the ceiling was, I think, the challenging one, and I burned myself out. I was so close at the end, and I just mastered up. I found the courage to finish it up, and I was like, I do not like it, and it took so many hours to do what I did. But at the end, I looked at it, and I looked at the overall of the projects, and I'm like, well, I may be burned, I may have enough, but man, it looks good. And it's finding that purpose again, finding what you want to do, but being present and having that habit to try to find some balance, even if in our hectic schedule, it is not, as I would say, how can we say that? Very stable, because it depends on the work. I used to have a day jobs and an overnight, because I like to keep I like the overnight. I kept the overnight for a couple of reasons. One of them was for my phone bill. They had a huge discount. I'm like, I'm keeping that job for the phone bill. So I was there only a couple of nights over there. But it was interesting to find that balance with the exercise, to find that balance with the way to eat, taking the time for myself as well. Learn to prioritize yourself. One of the biggest things as well is to set the boundaries, because you cannot be a people pleasing all of the time and expect to be well balanced, because you're going to burn out one way or the others, and people are not going to see it. It's happening behind closed door. But your mental health, your physical health, but the mental health play a big part as well. And it's finding that balance, regardless of where we are right here, right now. It's really finding that balance that's going to drive you. Get out of the burnout. And I know in some business it's hard, because you might be busy for a season, and it's gonna be long hours, 12, 14 hours a day, and it's like, how can I find that balance so I can continue to do what my passions is, and ensuring I have that equilibrium so I don't burn myself. When I worked for the club band way a long time ago, we were in villages for, it depends, because it could be for a season. It was seasonal or year round. Some of the village were open year round, and some were for 4, 5, 6 months. So it was seasonal. It was just for maybe the winter time for the ski, or it could be specific to the village. So you were working at all times, 7 days a week. They were rarely days off at all because we were doing our work. Everything was open 7 days a week, activities and everything else. And we were on a go, 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 go at all time. And then when we left the village, this is where you crash and burn because you went from working at all time to downtime to, or you were going to the next village. It all depends. But I had some downtime for a month or two or something like that, or a couple of months, 2-3 months, then go back there. But during that period of time, it was a radical change because you went from one phase where it was go, go, go to nothing. And the body had to adjust to that. That was kind of a shock to the body. So you were burned out. We were like, I am done. I'm finito mi querido. It was just until you were going somewhere else. But that time you realize how much work you put in and you got your stages of balance, but it was finding your equilibrium in all of that. So you need to recognize those stages. You need to really be mindful and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What is my state of mind? And you can say, I am stressed. I have enough. I am burned. Well, if you're honest with yourself, then you need to look at what are the cause of your burnout, because if you can recognize those, you can do something about it. And I said overworking, it's trying to find a balance, and it's kind of hard when people are piling up work on you. But you come to a point and you're going to have to say, no, I cannot do this. I need help. If you don't open your mouth, you're going to have a hard time. If you think that, oh, I'm going to be laid off if I don't, if I don't take on and on and on. No, you come to a limit that this stops. I cannot do this. I have to done it a few times where I had to say, you know what? I'm done. This is too much right now. I cannot do this. I need support. And also, oh, what kind of help do you need? Well, I need this, and that. And you start to distribute this. It's not that your job goes away at all. It's being able to delegate to somebody else's who can take on that load. That's one thing. So it's being able to recognize when you reach your limit and when to learn to delegate to others without the fear that your ego is going to say, well, if you don't take this, then you're going to lose your job. No, you're not. But at least you set your limit. And then when you're like, okay, I catch up with everything, I can take a little bit more on or not. It's up to you. But at least you said that, because when you know you're overworked and it's too much, then you need to let them know. And you document everything. I used to document everything because when things were not going, then at least by documentation, you bring them what they need, the proof of this. Somebody wants to come around and take it over, then you take it over, and that will be your problem. You will be the one burned out after sooner or later. Now, the lack of boundary is the biggest thing, because that's what most people don't completely or fully realize, the lack of boundaries. How many times people have come and you want to help, and at the end of the day, you have no time for yourself because you spend your time with everybody else's. You have to learn to say yes and no. I remember at the club that I had, that was the hairdresser. He was so funny. He was from Belgium. And I was when I was in Portugal at that time. And he used to say yes to everybody. I had to teach him to say no. By the end, when I started with him, I was laughing. He was saying no to everybody. He learned to say no because he used to say yes. And I'm looking at him and saying, you burn yourself out. Yes, I am burned. He was too overwhelmed with everything. And he learns to say no. And he set his boundaries. I reset my boundaries, actually. I've done the same thing. Because, I'm cool, no problem. I can help, I can do this. But at the end of the day, you got people who, they will walk all over your face. And then it's okay if you become the bad guy. Oh, you change. You used to be nicer. You used to do that. I used to let you walk over my face. No, it's a no. I'm the bad guy here. I'm good with that. I feel better that I'm the bad guy, but I set my boundaries. A no is a no. Set your boundaries. And the emotional, I think the hardest part is the emotional exhaustions, because when you're constantly stressed, or stretched thin, this is the hardest part. So you really have to look at where you are mentally. You have to be aware of it. If you're not aware of where you are, how you feel, how is your body, how is your mind, how do I feel right here, right now? If you don't apply the awareness, you're going to be surprised when you burn and crash, and everybody's going to look at you and say, what is wrong with that person? Is she crazy or not? But at the end of the day, is how do you feel? Where are you with that? When I worked, and I learned to do this because I am a machine. When I work, I work, I work, I work, I work. And I used to do not take breaks. It's good, it's bad, but you know what? I've learned to take breaks. Do it twice a day when I was in office. And for about 10 minutes, be outside, fresh air, talking. And I used to meet with somebody else who was a rebel. And he's on the way, George. And we used to walk outside and talk and shoot the breeze. We talk about something else, shooting the breeze, like we said, and just walk around for a little bit. And it was nice because you would go back inside and you were like, okay, I'm good. I got my ball of fresh air. I unplug for a minute. I can go back. And we used to do that in the afternoon as well, which was very nice. It was a discipline. I used to not do that before. Excuse me. So that was nice. Used to also for an hour, I remember where I was working way after that for another company, and I had my iPad with me. I had my ear plugs on too, and I would change my clothes in the bathroom. And I used to wear my tennis shoes, my little working out clothes, leggings and stuff like that. And I used to go for a walk for about an hour. And it was nice. It was very nice because I would go over there. I showed up at about 4 o'clock in the morning. So by about 11, I used to drink my shake because that's what I do. I drink shakes to make it easier. I don't feel like cooking or anything or eating. I just drink my shake and get going. So I would go outside and for an hour walk. Half an hour go one on the treadmill, half an hour coming back. Pumped up with music, super excited, ready to go. I would change, go back and finish to work and leave. This was awesome. It was a nice break. So learning to take breaks during the day, if you can, that is the key as well. That's called unplug it. So practical strategies like I'm talking about for preventing burnout. Time blocking for work-life balance. And I know I'm hearing people say, oh, I'm super busy. Yeah, well, you know what? And I talk in previous podcasts, in some of my episodes, maybe 100 or whatever, I talked about it. I talked about carving time for your personal time. Define work hours and stick to them. Okay? That's one thing. And being able to carve time for working out, for taking the time to sit down, do the meditation, do things without rushing. Now, the other thing that I use, the 80-20, which is interesting. That's a rule that I learned later on, but I always said 80-20. 80% organization, 20% goes off the rail. Focus on tasks that creates the biggest impacts, the 80-20 rules. Focus on tasks that create the biggest impact. My favorite word, say no with confidence. Protect your time by setting clear boundaries. Because people, if you give them the little finger, they will take your entire arm, literally. And you have to set example. Oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. No, not now. Because people got in a habit that you're always available. I said to people, like I was busy yesterday, and somebody texts me, oh, I'm available, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, good, because I'm not. And I was waiting for something. I still took my sweet time, go over there, and I had a conversation with that person. But I said, no. I said, oh, well, if you have time until I'm here. I'm like, okay, no problem. But it's set up boundaries. Because if you don't set the boundaries, then everybody's going to walk over your face, and you're going to be burned out faster than you want to say, oh, thank you. So now it's easy. You have to take steps. Identify early burnout sign and implement at least one recovery strategy. Seriously, think about it. That's why awareness, be aware of your own self, the awareness of yourself. How do I feel today? How am I doing? I am stressed out. Am I calm? Am I full of energies? Or am I burning myself slowly but surely? Be mindful to your own self, because if you're burned out, you cannot help anybody. You have to take care of yourself first. Create a work life balance plan to prioritize your well being. And I think it's the biggest key, because at the end of the day, you have to learn to take care of yourself. You should be first on your list, not the last one. I used to be the last one. I learned as a kid to put myself last. Always make sure everybody was taken care of. Always blah, blah, blah. And I did for years. How many people do this and still do this through these days? Now, I put myself first. I put my business first. I put my dogs next first. But I take care of myself first. I'm the first one on that list. Like the extension of my dogs, they come next. But it's me first. It's not selfish. How can you help? It's like being in a plane. Think about when they talk about being in an airplane and you go and they give you the spiel of, the safety. And they said, put your mask first, then help others. Well, if you don't have any oxygen, how are you going to be able to help people? You need to be first, because you are worthless if you want to help people and you're burned out. Also, setting up your boundaries will teach others to be mindful of your space. Because nobody gives a crap if you don't set your boundaries. And as I said, people's first instinct will be to blame you and say, oh, you mean, oh, you changed. No, I did not change. I'm still the nice person. However, I set my boundaries and you're not welcome in that space because it's my space. At work, it's the same thing. Document what you do. And if things are not working and you need support, then document and move it up. So you keep the documentation and say, no, I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I need the support. I need the help. You're not Superwoman. And I can guarantee this as well. See it too many times, was part of it as well. That at the end of the day, it's not going to get you promoted faster than anybody else's. People are going to rely on you and dump you the things, but they're not going to promote you because you're the person they need most to do the groundwork. So learn to say no, prioritize yourself, and monitor your awareness on how you're doing. Because if you're not doing well, then you're not going to be helpful. Your wellness is your top priority. You are your top priority. If you're burned out, you're useless to yourself and you cannot help others properly. Oh yes, you're going to do a half-baked job. But the half-baked job is not what you want to do. So take care of yourself first. That's the goal. All my love, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast. universe